Ever wonder what happened to Tony Terry? You know, the guy with the voice that made people cry at weddings? The man behind With You, a song so smooth it basically came with a velvet robe? Yeah, that Tony Terry. 1 minute his voice was everywhere. The next? Gone. Like completely erased. And here's the wild part. He didn't vanish because he ran out of talent. He didn't go quiet because he lost his voice or lost his mind. He was shut down, blacklisted, sabotaged, all by the same people who were supposed to have his back. We're talking full-on career destruction, and it wasn't random. It was personal. Tony was targeted by the very label that launched him, Epic Records. He uncovered shady financials, asked a few uncomfortable questions, and suddenly, poof, no more radio play, no more music video budgets, no more support, just whispers behind his back, canceled gigs, and total silence. How does a guy go from serenading the world to chasing rent checks? You're about to find out. Because Tony Terry's story isn't just about fame, it's about betrayal, gaslighting, survival, and one seriously messed up system that still exists today. Tony Terry started out just like every dreamer, grinding. He wasn't handed anything. He worked his way up with real talent and zero shortcuts. Born in North Carolina, raised in DC, Tony sang in school choirs, entered talent shows, and hustled until someone finally said, "Let's sign this guy." That someone was Epic Records, one of the biggest labels in the business at the time. They'd launch stars. They knew how to build legends. And for a while, it seemed like Tony was on his way to being one of them. His breakout hit, With You, dropped in the early 90s and exploded. You couldn't escape it. Weddings, radio stations, TV performances, it was everywhere. People slow danced to it. People proposed to it. DJs couldn't get enough of it. That song had staying power. It wasn't trendy. It was timeless. Add to that his earlier songs like Everlasting Love and She's Fly, and Tony had already created a discography most artists would dream about. He was getting real buzz. Music videos, TV spots, live performances. His voice was smooth, his image was clean, and his songs hit emotions like a punch to the gut in the best way. People felt Tony Terry. And the label? Oh, they loved him too. Until he got smart. Until he got curious. At first, the red flags were small. A canceled interview here. A missed royalty payment there. But then his team started noticing something strange. Tony's songs were being pulled from radio stations without any explanation. Like, why would a song that's charting suddenly disappear? Why would promotional appearances just vanish from his calendar? He started asking questions. And that's when things got ugly. Tony wanted transparency. He wanted to understand where his money was going. He wanted to know why his album budget suddenly shrank overnight. He wasn't being rude. He wasn't throwing fits. He just wanted to know. And apparently, that was enough to turn him into a problem. The moment Tony asked for accountability, Epic Records flipped the script. They ignored his calls. They stalled on his projects. They made promises and didn't deliver. One of his music videos, set to launch his next single, got sabotaged. Delays, budget cuts, creative changes he never approved. The video turned out to be a mess, and the single tanked hard because of it. Suddenly, radio programmers stopped adding his name to rotation. Shows were canceled. The label went silent. And it wasn't just silence, it was strategy. Tony later discovered that people within Epic were quietly telling industry insiders that he was difficult to work with. That's code for he asked too many questions. It's the kiss of death in the music business. Once you're labeled difficult, producers stop calling. Collaborators vanish. Studios slam the door shut. Tony was blacklisted. People who used to text him back in 5 minutes now acted like they never knew him. Industry friends? Gone. Collaborators? Vanished. And the fans? They didn't even know what happened. All they saw was an artist who just stopped showing up. But behind the scenes, Tony was still working, just with no support. No money. No momentum. Financially, it was a disaster. Tony went from industry darling to drowning in debt. Every royalty check got smaller. Every performance was harder to book. The same executives who once called him the future of R&B now pretended like he never existed. They spread lies, shifted blame, and left Tony picking up pieces. He couldn't even get basic radio airplay. DJs were told not to spin his tracks. Streaming platforms buried his new music. And all because he asked, "Where's my money?" Meanwhile, Epic Records kept doing just fine. They moved on to new artists, kept making money. But Tony? He was fighting to survive. He tried releasing music independently. He dropped new singles with that same signature voice, still smooth, still full of feeling. But the support wasn't there. The industry had iced him out, and things only got worse at home. The stress of his vanishing career took a toll on his marriage. Tony tried to keep his public image clean, but behind closed doors, he was exhausted. He was losing confidence, losing sleep, losing friends. The fights got more intense. The pressure got heavier. The walls closed in. And the man who once sang about everlasting love was suddenly alone, broke and boxed out. But Tony didn't quit. He didn't disappear. He reinvented. Instead of begging the same people who betrayed him, he pivoted. He turned to gospel music. He turned to the theater, smaller venues, local stages, charity events, anywhere people would listen. And you know what? People did listen. His voice still hit. His passion still burned. And slowly, things started to shift. He began performing again, not in arenas, but in intimate spaces where the music still mattered. He found a community. He found peace. And over time, he rebuilt. His net worth recovered, now around $3 million. That might not sound like much in celebrity terms, but when you consider the industry tried to erase him, that's a massive win. Tony also started speaking out. Not bitter, not angry, just honest. He began sharing his story, talking about shady contracts, crooked managers, and the warning signs young artists should watch out for. He became a mentor, a teacher, a survivor, and fans started finding him again. The real ones. The people who never forgot with you. The people who always wondered what happened to that silky voice. Tony might not be on the charts anymore, but he's still in the conversation. And he earned that with sweat, scars, and sheer willpower. So, yeah, Tony Terry was sabotaged. He was lied to, stolen from, blacklisted, and betrayed. But he's still here, still singing, still standing. And if that's not legendary, what is? Now, let's talk about what this all really means. How many other artists disappeared the same way? How many voices were shut down because they questioned the wrong people? If Tony Terry, with that voice and that catalog, could get erased, who else did we lose without even knowing it? This isn't just Tony's story. It's an industry story, one we've seen before and will keep seeing unless something changes. Artists still sign terrible deals. Labels still control airplay, streaming, and perception. The moment someone steps out of line, they get labeled, cornered, and crushed. But Tony proved that the system doesn't have the final word. You can lose everything and still get back up. You can be forgotten and still matter. You can be blacklisted and still find your way back. And let's be real, with you, still hits. That song is eternal. So, is the man behind it? Want some lesser-known gems? Tony starred in stage musicals like His Woman, His Wife, and Cheaters, where he absolutely crushed live performances. Fans still line up to hear him sing in person. He's also collaborated with gospel choirs and smaller indie acts, helping young singers find their sound without the industry politics. He's spoken at seminars, mentored up-and-comers, and even gone on regional tours where he mixes old hits with brand-new originals. At one show, someone yelled out, "Play with you," before he even walked on stage. That's staying power. That's respect. And yes, he's still recording. He drops music independently now, and it's worth a listen. Same smooth vocals, same heart, just without the flashy label drama. Did you know he even considered writing a memoir? It's still in the works, but if it drops, it's going to shake tables. He's got names. He's got receipts. And when he's ready, he'll tell everything. So, what do we do with this story? We remember. We learn. We ask better questions. Because for every hit song, there's a story behind it. And sometimes that story is way darker than we think. So here's the question for you. Do you think the music industry's changed? Or are artists still being manipulated, ghosted, and erased? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if Tony's journey hit you, even just a little, smash that like button. Subscribe for more stories like this. We're shining a light on every artist who disappeared without warning. Because they didn't just fade out. They were pushed, just like Tony Terry. Let's talk.